Welcome to Otakus Geeks The Hour. Join Justin, Nadya, Sean, Jerrell, and guest panelists as they discuss the latest news, give reviews, and conduct interviews in all things entertainment. Without further ado, let's start the show.
Welcome back to the hour. This is episode 2. This is Marvel World. This is all about Marvel Comics, Marvel MCU, Marvel games, a whole bunch of topics. Whatever we're going to talk about, Justin here, and everybody can introduce yourselves real quick before we get started, before I start that clock. How y'all doing?
Well, we're good.
Well rested.
Jerrell smiled, so I guess we got to smile too.
Happy people,
Jerrell,
happy.
There you
Jerrell
go.
said we gotta smile more.
Yeah, I know it's a Marvel discussion, but you know,
Fuck your happiness. I'm gonna act just like DC fans. I'm just sitting here gloomy and brooding. My name is
All right,
Batman. This episode.
I'm gonna kick this off with the first topic. This is something real quick. Since Phase 4 has passed by, we didn't really do a discussion on our final thoughts on Phase 4, and obviously they did map out what Phase 5 is. So
wait, Phase 4 is over?
Yeah, Phase 4 ended with Wakanda forever.
Oh.
Yes, Phase 4 ended with Wakanda Forever, as Sean said. So I want to get everybody's final thoughts on what you thought of Phase 4 with the Disney Plus shows, and of course, obviously the movies. And who would like to take the reins first of their thoughts, final thoughts on Phase 4 as Ant-Man is kicking it off?
Who got a
again?
slate, though? I said, who got a slate? Because I actually thought we were still in Phase 4. I didn't know it ended with Wakanda.
No, Ant-Man is kicking off Phase 5.
Yeah.
So Phase 4 Disney Plus shows, well, of course, was Captain versus. It was Winter Soldier, Captain America, Winter Soldier, of course, Wandavision, Black Widow, The Eternals. Who else had a TV show? Moon Knight, She-Hulk,
Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night, Loki.
Yeah.
So these were Phase 4 mostly consists of Disney Plus shows, but you believe it or not.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows.
And Doctor Strange,
And,
Multiverse,
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Thor: Love and Thunder, and the best Phase 4 movie, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
So I mean, I'll start it off like I think everybody Phase 4 was a mixed bag for everybody. You got jokes like it was the MCU most boring phase that they've come out so far. Everything else, I don't see it's a story. I don't see it. I think I was just talking to somebody about this today. I think the biggest problem with what everybody does is they get used to one thing. It's like when you tell a story, what made the first 3 phases of Marvel great was because you were getting introduced to every character. And there were surprises with every character. We didn't expect Spider-Man to be brought into the MCU. We got to see obscure characters that we would never see come out of the comic book. Clamoring to see if there would be a Daredevil. We had Daredevil characters pop up and different things. So it was like you were always introduced to something new. So the phase kind of was exciting. And then, it was like the build up to Thanos and, it worked out. When it comes to Phase 4, like now you're getting deep into the story. It's continued the story from the last one with the new threat, new everything else. So Doctor Strange is dealing with his BS, Wanda with her, with her issues. There was a lot of hype behind WandaVision. So, like it either fell short for some people or it was really good for other people. You take some of the shows that came out. I know Nadya is a huge fan of Echo, and Echo fell short for her. Whereas most people, it didn't. Well, no, Echo was in Hawkeye. So Hawkeye fell short for Nadya, but she felt the character. They didn't do the character any justice. They might get a reprieve because Echo kicks off in Phase 5. A lot of the shows for me were okay. It's just a story. It's a chapter in the book. Sometimes you're not going to like every chapter in the book. I thought some of the criticisms of it being an all-female thing, well, you got to prepare for it because I think Marvel is planning to do an A-Force movie. You got to introduce a lot of the female characters from the MCU. I thought it was the same as I say with some movies. It was 50-50. You either liked the series or you didn't. I liked WandaVision. I don't know if everybody can agree. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier was probably the best out of everything that came out in phase 4. Like it was the most solid thing they put together out of the entire series. Doctor Strange, it was like it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I do agree. Somebody needs to just sit down and say that Wanda, even though in the comic book she's kind of playing what she is in the comic book, she's never really a hero. She's always on that cusp of being a villain. I mean, if you read House of M, like Wanda is just somebody need to just really get her a lot of therapy and have a conversation with her about her daddy issues and everything that goes on. She forever losing a man. So like let's there's things to get there. But I think and the MCU is kind of doing her justice with that because you either love her or hate her. And it's the end, like there are a lot of things I didn't like about it, but I was like, it's okay. It's some of the criticism, I'm like, yo, it's either you really hate Marvel or you just don't want to watch stories. Like, I don't know what people are looking for in storytelling. Like, everything is not going to be great. I mean, Game of Thrones was a great series, and there was some boring seasons in Game of Thrones. So it's like you're not going to get 100% out of every one of them. But I think overall, like phase 4 gets a B for me. Like you had some really low points and you had some high points. But the only thing I will say is nobody can really deny that Falcon and Winter Soldier was the premier thing. And I can't wait until I guess it's close to the end of phase 5 that we get Captain America, New World Order at the end of that. And now let's see if they continue that record with that. But overall, that was just my thoughts of phase 4.
I'll jump in here real quick because for me, phase 4 was kind of like a lukewarm mix. And I think what a lot of people had with phase 4, the issue with it was like the first 3 phases, we had kind of a clear vision where we were going. It seems like phase 5 knows like, hey, Kane's here. Kane is the guy. Phase 4 just seemed like more of filler. In a way, to put it like in anime terms, it kind of felt like filler to build it up towards what we're getting. Like I said, how I always describe the MCU, it's chapters. This particular chapter, it wasn't as great. I mean, when it comes to filler, I mean, you had Moon Knight, and it also had to deal with the pandemic. I'm not going to use it as a full excuse, but there was things that they took out of Moon Knight that Moon Knight was supposed to name drop Kane. And one of the gods that Kane was, they took it out. I think Eternals also had something Kane-wise as well. They took it out. So it's like a lot of things that were originally planned was taken out. And you didn't really, like, if you watch the entire phase 4, you really don't kind of see a clear vision. Everything kind of feels standalone until Loki came with He Who Remains. And then you go like, oh, okay, there he is. So for me, phase 4, I will say the best one is Spider-Man No Way Home, even though it doesn't really add anything besides the, the multiverse aspect of Doctor Strange. It's kind of its own standalone too. But I will say out of the movies, I will say Spider-Man No Way Home is the best phase 4 movie. But otherwise, I'm looking forward to phase 5, which will be the next topic once everybody gets their thoughts. Jerrell and Nadya, what is your final thoughts on phase 4?
I'll go. So I had a lot of gripes with phase 4. For me, I'll start with like the bad. I guess for me with phase 4, coming off of like Avengers and Endgame, phase 4 had no like Endgame, pun intended. Like it was just, there was too much expectation with it. And not to say that like fans expect too much, but I think we were let down too many times because I felt like we were promised things and then nothing happened. And it's like after Thanos, we expect like a big bad and everything just kind of fell short. Like Multiverse of Madness is a prime example of supposed to be a multiverse of madness. And if it didn't feel like end of the world, like repercussions, like it just felt like, oh, we can save the day in 2 seconds and on to the next movie. Like there were so many expectations people had for that movie and it kind of fell short for me. Same thing with like Thor Love and Thunder. Ragnarok was great. It was innovative, but I felt like Love and Thunder tried to do the same formula and it didn't hit for me. And one of my main issues with Marvel movies is they have a villain problem and they always try to like reconcile and make someone like an anti-villain or like friendly. Like Loki's a villain, and they always try to make him like he's such a popular character that they try to like forget what he's done in the past. And
Yeah.
with
True.
Love and Thunder, Gore the God Butcher is supposed to be killing gods, like, and I felt like that was a waste of that character, because it should have been much more like dangerous. Like
He didn't live
like
up to the same things in the comic book. He was just
Yeah. Like
added.
that was one
butchering,
character I would have to
killing,
say.
like,
Yeah.
and this is just like, oh, like it's okay, it's we're good, and I don't know, that was like a downfall for me. When it comes to the Disney Plus shows, I'll say a positive. What I did really enjoy is that they tried to make every show different. So every show was kind of innovative and brought like something original. So like with WandaVision, with like the flashbacks and the different television, that was really cool how they did that. And then I loved Werewolf by Night. I thought Werewolf by Night was phenomenal. And I was actually really upset that that was just a mini movie. Like I was like, wait, where's the next one? Where's the next one? Like that was actually probably one of my favorites, and that definitely surprised me. Hawkeye, you already know, was a letdown for me. I felt like they did a disservice to a lot of the characters. Like, I think the Echo actress is phenomenal. She's perfect. So I can't wait to see what she's going to do. But the show just fell flat for me, even though I love the cast. What's her name? Haley Steinfeld. I thought she was fantastic casting for Kate Bishop, but the show did nothing to show me that she's ready to take on the mantle. Like she just goes to karate school and wakes up and she's a superhero. There were just a lot of things that didn't feel like it has real world
applications and
like just too many things felt like inconsistent and incomplete.
Yeah, like I said, there's like really no direction like the previous 3 phases felt like. Now 5 seems to have a direction with Quantumania, where Kane is just like, okay, I'm out now. Now I'm going to fuck everybody up. You know, just seems like, okay, this guy's the threat. We have a goal. We have that's the goal. Stop Kane or whatever Kane's planning to do. And yeah, so we'll see.
Oh wait, one more thing. I was gonna say my other issue is that the previous phases felt more like they can have a balance for like adults and for like a younger audience. This phase started to get like more and more like less, like I said, like real world implications. And like for me, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the only one that felt like it fit in the MCU. Some of the other shows felt like an entirely different universe. They felt like they won't fit. And then like say something like Winter Soldier, it's not for children. It's like there's some dark shit. And for me, this phase felt like, well, let's forget about all that. Let's forget that Kingpin took off a head with a car. Like, let's forget all that. And he's just going to be like a colorful guy that like Kate Bishop can push around. Like, I was just like, what? Like, there's just a lot for me that didn't hit.
Right, Jerrell.
Your cat spoke first.
Yeah.
So the cat spoke for you.
It's weird because all right, you ever get to a point where you have a music artist that you've listened to since you were a child, and they're your favorite artist, you buy all their albums, and then it gets to a point where you love this person or this group so much, you don't hear a single, you don't see a music video. Somebody tells you, hey, they put something out, and you just buy it because that's your favorite person. I feel like Marvel got to that point where they felt like, oh, well, they love us anyway, and it's not going to matter at the end of the day. And it showcased through a lot of the projects. And I said this all the time, they have this weird habit of sacrificing like storytelling for like a big like fan pop. You know, just because you brought back Kingpin doesn't mean that the Hawkeye series was good. Just because you show me one version of Kang doesn't mean Loki was a good series. You know, like they keep bringing, it's like they'll do something. Like I feel like somebody in the room was just like, hey, this isn't real good, but then they're like, oh, show Tony Stark, they'll be fun. You know, like just because you showed me this one thing doesn't mean the rest of it was. and I feel like they're at the point where they're just resting on the fact that they're Marvel now.
But but do you see? But for Marvel, is that Marvel or is that everybody does that? Because everything is influenced by influencers. So if you don't do something with a pop, nobody's going to talk about it.
I was about to jump in and say that everybody's doing the nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
Or the Easter eggs. Like DC does it, Marvel does it, Image does it, everybody does it. Hell, even Stranger Things does Easter eggs and little things for pops.
I mean, but again, but from a studio standpoint, you should know that's going to happen, which means you still have to try. Like you still have to, because we talked about this in previous podcasts. The 6-episode format for a lot of these shows actually hurt it because they were sacrificing like character development and other things just for the sake of like, oh look, here's some like, oh look, Hawkeye has a sidekick now, or they're and also like the whole like Young Avengers thing. Like I don't like how they're handling that either, because they're not. I don't feel like they're really like doing. They're not making me care about the next generation of people, and. Even with Black Panther, I hated how they handled Riri, like Riri Williams. Like I didn't like how her character came across. Like the young black kid on.
Because it just hit Disney Plus. So if people haven't seen it, hold your spoiler. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's I'm not, because and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I see what you're doing, I see what you're trying to do, but it's like I just feel like you're not trying anymore. Like they're just like, oh well, show them Kang, we'll be okay. And and to an extent, like the fans, like a lot of the fans, like it's their fault too, because and I say this all the time, I was 50-50 on WandaVision. There were things about it that I like. I love Monica Rambeau. Like I'm interested in watching the Marvels strictly for Monica Rambeau and for Miss Marvel, because I did like the Miss Marvel show as well. But I
loved it.
Yeah, but like I'm looking forward to that. And the female thing doesn't bother me. I mean, I am a heterosexual male. When they said that it was going to be mostly women, I was like, well, great. Like I was looking forward to that, because I like, I want to see more female characters. Because I got tired of watching the Avengers where it's like it's just Black Widow and like 19 dudes. I'm like, we do need more women. So I mean, people who get mad at that, they just get mad because they just fear like, oh, the feminist movement's taking over. But I don't think it was the feminist movement. I don't think it was. It's not the feminist movement taking over. We've just used all the other male characters now, so now they're starting to do everything else. But the fans they do that to themselves too, because again, in WandaVision, nobody in a Marvel studio setting brought up Mephisto. Y'all did that to yourselves.
Actually, that's not entirely true. They kept alluding to it, and they did apologize at the end, because the guy who wrote it said, my bad, I never read that comic book with it, and I alluded to so many things that Mephisto was coming, and yet I had no idea who the hell Mephisto was.
Wasn't it like a COVID restriction?
Yeah, like there was actually a scene where there was, Justin hit it. There were so many scenes they deleted from it that Mephisto was supposed to show up. That's why the director and writer didn't feel it was important to bring him in there. And I'm like, holy shit, you just did the West Coast Avengers story with Wanda and her kids, and you don't include Mephisto? That's not really on the fans. Like, that's really on the director for not reading the comic book.
That goes back to my point. That
but no,
about them phoning it in.
But that's what I mean.
How do you not know that?
We're not disagreeing with you with that. You don't take that and then go, you use an entire story with Mephisto and then go, oh shit, I don't know who the hell he is.
Yeah, somebody
somebody should have dragged him out the building and just threw him to the comic fans and left him there.
This is the problem with Marvel.
That's like James Gunn saying, wait, Superman doesn't take over the world. He's supposed to be truth and justice. Like, how do you not know that? Like, I don't understand
they
that.
Hire writers that have no idea. Even in the comics right now, not even tell you, they have comic book writers that absolutely have no idea about the history. Hell, not to switch gears, but even with The Witcher, there's rumors or those allegations that the reason why Henry Cavill quit is because the showrunner and the writers don't give a damn about the source material. So it's like you hire people who have no love for it. That's not a common thing. That's always been happening.
Yeah, but their reasoning behind it is, well, we're popular, so this doesn't matter. People will like it anyway.
That's true.
Because we're Marvel, and to an extent, they've earn the right to kind of be that way, but you don't actually do that.
I mean, yeah, they're McDonald's, but at the same time, you still gotta put McDonald's at sometimes still have to put out quality stuff.
Stop showing me the big rib and then only for like 3 months and then taking it back.
I was very,
here's your one movie, then you're going back to your menu.
Yeah, I was honestly, I was very disappointed with Doctor Strange because and Justin, like I watched The Flash, goddamn it, like we know about some multiverse. If you're gonna do a multiverse movie and you can't get the other actors in your MCU to play different versions of themselves, then don't do a multiverse of madness. But they justified it by saying, hey, if we bring out Professor Xavier, no one's gonna notice there's no alternate version of we just had like 19 versions of Doctor Strange. And I'm like, so there's no Falcon on a different Earth. There's no, Tony Stark on a different Earth. It's just more Doctor Strange. But you gave me Captain Peggy Carter, so that's supposed to make up for it. And I'm just like,
well, that was in What If, so that paid off What If. So,
I mean, I agree with that to an extent, but then it's like you start to get into how long is this movie actually going to be if you start exploring every single alternate version of a character.
Nobody?
Yeah, I mean,
I wanted to see.
I don't disagree, but I'm
Chris
like
Evans as Johnny Storm.
True.
Yeah, I mean,
true.
Some wild stuff.
But also,
in the second Thor movie, dude, in the second Thor movie, they got Chris Evans to do a 2-minute walk with Loki from one end of a hallway to another. You couldn't get him to
think about too that when it comes to even though they own the Fantastic Four stuff now. There are, I know with the X-Men, there are contracts. I think if they do any X-Men characters, that's why they have Patrick Stewart back. They still have to use the original Fox X-Men characters. That's why we're not probably getting an X-Men movie till 2025 until their contracts expire and they can actually recast. They might put them in Secret Wars to give them their swan song. That way they could really start the X-Men characters the way they want to do it. So, I mean, there's also legal stuff too, why they probably couldn't use. Because keep in mind, Marvel still doesn't own everything. I think the Universal still owns the Hulk rights. So I mean,
but I'm not talking about everything. Just give.
No, I'm just saying though. But
you kind of implied that you were like every alternate versions of everything. So if you you want to see an alternate version of Hulk, well, Universal still owes that, and they might not have gotten permission to do that.
They gave us a teaser of that in She-Hulk though. But she broke the fourth wall, so it's like what counts, what doesn't count.
So
but
they don't own TV rights, so they could do whatever. They could do a whole TV show if they wanted to.
I mean, surprisingly, the one thing about Phase 4 I actually legitimately enjoyed. With the exception of how they handled Riri, I do like all the female characters. Like the Egyptian girl in Moon Knight, I still want to know about her story.
What's crazy about that is you said I don't like the way they handle Riri, and they kind of handle Riri closer to the comic book than they handle Monica Rambeau for it, because that was the biggest complaint about everybody. Like she's supposed to be the Blue Marvel, and you kind of really just threw her to the wolves. Like technically, she should have just came in and just wiped the whole board at the end of WandaVision, because she does have the power to do that. And
she didn't discover the power until literally the very last second. So.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like when she does discover her powers, she's really good with it. And I didn't understand why they took this whole thing. I will say you're right about one thing. My theory was when Wanda threw that entire force shield out, that was supposed to start the mutant revolution, because her powers kind of dabbled with everybody's DNA and created mutants. But that didn't pay off either.
Yeah, because they need to explain where mutants and Blade, Moon Knight, all these characters, where they were, why weren't they involved before?
And then
that's why I was wondering how they all was going to tie up. That's why I said kind of felt like a lot of it had to do with COVID. A lot of it had to do because keep in mind, before we transition to Phase 5, Phase 4 original slate was way different. Release dates were different. I mean, Doctor Strange was supposed to be before Spider-Man No Way Home.
Black Widow was supposed to be a year or two before.
Yeah. So a lot of things changed and got switched up. So Phase 4 is kind of their audible phase. It was just the world went to shit.
There was supposed to be more episodes with a lot of the phases, which is why Daredevil is getting an 18 episode thing, and everything else got 6 because what can you film?
which was great. Thank you for saying that, because we're going to transition into Phase 5. I'm going to give the list for those who don't know. So Phase 5, as of now, you have, which is coming out February 17th, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. Ant-Man, the Wasp, and Quantumania. Then we have in the spring Secret Invasion, which is on Disney Plus, Samuel Jackson. May 5th, 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And then the summer of Disney Plus is going to be Echo. Summer also in Disney Plus, Loki Season 2. Slated right now, July 28th, 2023, The Marvels. These dates are so close to check together. Then you got Ironheart in the fall. And then a show that's completely left field. I personally don't think we need it, but hey, Agatha, Coven of Chaos.
We all agree.
And the show that everybody's looking forward to, Daredevil Born Again.
Yep.
And then we have Captain America New World Order, which will be May 3rd, 2024. Then we have the Thunderbolts scheduled July 26, 2024. And then finally, supposedly supposed to close it out, Blade, September 6, 2024. And that is the Phase 5 slate.
I thought Thunderbolts was supposed to close that out.
Which one?
I thought Thunderbolts was supposed to close out Phase 5.
Well, they have here as of January 3rd, Blade closing out at September 6th, 2024. I will say, I'm just going to give my thoughts real quick. The one, just looking at this list, the one I'm anticipating the most is the one that's coming out in 2 weeks, and that's Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. One, because I'm a huge Kane the Conqueror fan. I love his books. Two, Jonathan Majors looks like menacing, and he's going to kill it. Like, he looks like he's going to own this role. Two, three, I will say, they look like they gave Ant-Man an Avengers level movie. Like, one thing I remember Peyton Reed, the director, was saying, he was just like, Ant-Man's always seemed like a filler movie between major arcs, so it's nice for Ant-Man now to actually kick off the major arc with a real high stakes scale. So that one I'm really curious about to see. Secret Invasion, just looking at the trailer, looks eerie, has this nice thriller invasion of the body snatchers type of vibe to it, which I'm really excited about to see how they're going to pull it off, especially knowing the art. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 with the High Revolutionary and Adam Warlock, I'm looking forward to as well. Looks like it's going to be an emotional send-off for the team. Echo, honestly, I haven't read too much of her stories in comics. Nadya could probably comment more about her story. I'm not sure about that. Loki season 2, I'm gonna watch because I know it's gonna be very Kane heavy. The Marvels, I don't know how it's gonna fit, but I'm gonna see it. Ironheart also seems like it's gonna be kind of standalone-ness. Agatha, why?
Why?
Because they're Marvel.
Because of a hit song.
You're all gonna watch it anyway.
Oh, no, it's a hit song. That's why.
This is why I agree with you, Jerrell. Agatha is because fans were screaming for it. They loved it. I don't. That they should have let go.
Screaming for what? A song?
I said the same thing. Like,
Daredevil. I'm hoping. I doubt it, because they even said it's not going to, they're going to take parts of it. But if they adapt the Born Again story, not saying to the T, but if they take a lot of the elements and keep it the Netflix type of level quality and the level of the Netflix darkness and stuff, that's gonna blow everybody out the water.
As long as he doesn't have to do the walk of shame again.
World Order, the villain, I'm not feeling it, but we'll see. Thunderbolts, not a fan of the lineup, honestly. And then Blade is a wait and see. So that's my thoughts on Phase 5. I'm looking for it. I will say Ant-Man, Secret Invasion, Loki. I gotta watch just because of Kane, and Daredevil for me. Captain America. I'm not happy with the villains. That what's the guy's name again? Sean, the dude from the Hawk movie. Oh my God, the professor. Something I forgot his name. He's the villain. From the Incredible Hulk movie. The guy at the end got the Hulk blood in him. Movie? Yeah, the Norton movie. Yeah, that's the guy's the villain.
Yeah, you're not talking about Ross.
No, not Ross. It's the guy. Remember that guy who's in the lab, and at the end,
wasn't he the Abomination?
Nah, The other
No,
guy.
they're using what do you call it? The brain. What's his name? The leader.
Yes,
Is it
that guy.
Leader? They're using the leader in.
Yes, the leader is the villain of Captain World Order.
Really?
Captain America: New World Order.
Is that the one with Falcon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I
The
don't know
leader's
why
the villain.
why the leader would be a villain for Captain America. That wouldn't.
Dude, you gotta ask Marvel for that. That's
Because-
why I was like, I'm
because
not a
Sean-
fan of the
because
choice.
Sean,
Like, I don't get it.
A black man has the shield, so he's not their leader.
No. You read a
That's
comic
not-
book, bro. The leader is like a Hulk villain. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like he's not like I mean, not to say they don't interchange villains, but he's far from being Captain America
But
villain.
they still can't do solo Hulk films, so I guess they gotta do something with the villains.
I mean, you can't do a solo Hulk film. Just take somebody. I mean, shit. Give me Baron Zemo again, or bring me.
That's what I was thinking.
He
was cast.
Yeah, bring me the Serpent Society. Then you know what I'm saying. Like if you're gonna do that, bring me the Serpent Society.
Wouldn't that be like a Hawkeye 2 type of thing?
No, Serpent Society is more Captain America. It falls under the same thing with Red.
Oh, you said the Serpent Society.
Yeah, Serpent Society. Like, bring me that. Don't bring me the leader. Like, Nadya, Jerrell, you go because this shit will baffle.
So, question: is Secret Invasion coming before the Marvels?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wondering because I feel like Secret Invasion should be a huge plot line.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's just going to be a TV series. 2, is that 6 episodes?
No, I think that one's
I'm not sure.
That one I think it's 12 to 14 episodes.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like I feel like that's like a major storyline. I don't know why that's just being condensed to a TV show.
That's why I was wondering. That should have been like an Avengers level type.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that could be Avengers like 4.2, whatever 4. But my question, I guess, being that if that's first, because remember the whole like they changed in Captain Marvel the whole Korean scroll thing. Kind of wondering how they're gonna handle that because in the Marvels, Carol is back after a Kree, right? And she's taking like revenge. So I'm curious just how I guess it'll tie into Secret Invasion, like if this is gonna be like repercussions after that. And then I love Kamala Khan, so I'm so curious to see what they're gonna do with Miss Marvel, especially because now she is a mutant. So I'm wondering if this is gonna be our tie into the X-Men. And then Monica Rambeau, I'm super excited to freaking see her. So I'm actually really excited for the Marvels. Although I wasn't the biggest fan of Captain Marvel. That was one of my least favorite of the movies, but I am super excited for the Marvels.
Isn't she in Kamala's bedroom now?
Obviously, Daredevil. I'm freaking obsessed. So I'm super excited for that. Like Zdarsky's run is incredible. So I'm hoping it will be something similar to that or Born Again, where it takes the dark materials that Daredevil deals with, because I hope they don't do what they did with Moon Knight to that and Hawkeye and like dumb it down, because Daredevil is not for children. It doesn't have to be like super bloody, but he's on the verge of killing people and like praying to God and asking for forgiveness, and then like Elektra kills and like Punisher kills, like so many people in his universe kill, and it's darkness. Like he does a lot of crazy shit. There's a lot of things that are like not for children. There's hookers, there's sex trafficking, there's guns. Like it's there's no content that's for children. So either it's like PG-13 but on the verge of R, or rated R. Like it's not for kids. So don't dumb it down. And then what else am I excited for? Yeah, so Secret Invasion, Daredevil, Echo. So this was also my questions with Echo, because they kind of did some changes, which I'm curious to see, because the MCU has taken a lot of creative liberties from the comics, and sometimes it works better for film and television. So I'm curious because in the comics, she thinks that Matt is the one who killed her father, not Hawkeye. So I'm curious how they're doing that, and like her ties to Kingpin is still, they kind of touch that a little bit. And then like she at some point even dates Daredevil too. Like Daredevil got around, he gets a lot of ass. That's another thing. I wonder if they're gonna be like a thing or whatever. But I love Echo. She's a badass, so I'm excited for that. I'm hoping that's good.
I know it's weird for me. I think for me, the one thing I'm looking forward to the most is the return of Quake, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is my shit. And they got a raw deal towards the end where they had them follow the MCU timeline and then they tried to pretend like they weren't there. So the fact that they're bringing them back, I'm excited to see if it's more than just her. Like, are you going to bring in Quake? Do you bring back Agent Coulson, who was the MVP? You know, like Agent Coulson is S.H.I.E.L.D. And if we get him back, that'd be cool. So whatever Chloe Bennett's going to be a part of, that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to watch. As an already said, like,
scroll.
Huh?
They'll probably make her a scroll.
I hope not.
I can see that.
Well, see, that goes with where you have to read the comic book. Everybody was a scroll in Secret Invasion. Like, that was the point. They kidnapped everybody and then replaced them with a scroll.
Yeah, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, pretty much.
Yeah, that's why they should be end of the world level.
Yeah. Yep.
Not a TV show.
Yeah. And like you said, like, I feel like because they're doing Secret Invasion, like, shouldn't the whole point of the Marvels be to stop the invasion? You know, like, what happened? Because isn't she like a scroll hunter? Like, isn't she cool with some of them?
No, because this was an arc that went on for a long time. Like, nobody knew everybody was getting like replaced. It was
but if we're about to find out that everybody, I mean, because doesn't Nick Fury still have sword in the sky or something? I don't understand how you do that and don't have her involved. So that's
find out during the show. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if the whole Secret Invasion thing comes and goes and she's not a part of it, that's gonna be really weird. That's gonna be like legitimately weird.
Yeah, they have a lot of explaining where people were during certain.
Well, the funny thing is, in the comic book, Miss Marvel was kidnapped also. When they went to the planet, they found her, Spider-Man, everybody from the Marvel universe in a pod, you know, and like the scroll. And the only thing I have a big problem with is that one of the biggest things about why Secret Invasion worked was because you had Super Skrulls, which are the race of the Skrulls that can mimic the powers of every single Marvel hero or villain. And if they introduce that, it'll make sense. If you don't introduce it, it kind of gets very weird. And I mean, also, Secret Invasion could be a way to introduce the X-Men into it, which I don't think they will, because one of the biggest storylines was that the Skrulls replaced Wolverine, and Wolverine gets killed, and then you find out Wolverine was actually kidnapped by Apocalypse and turned into one of the Four Horsemen.
And I said that too. Like, I feel like they're going to use the Secret Invasion to justify bringing back either Tony Stark or Natasha. Like, I promise
that's possible. That's
promise you, they're gonna tell us that one of them was and that's how they're gonna bring one of those two characters back.
I mean, it's a smart way to do it, though. When you think about it from a writing standpoint, it's a smart way to do it.
Yeah, but then it devalues the impact of their death.
It would be cool if they bring in some of the Marvel Netflix characters that way, like make Luke Cage and Elektra Skrulls.
See, and that's I'm looking forward to the Daredevil too, only because I'm hoping he gets like a legitimate, because like the way they canceled that whole thing was just it was wrong. And I'm hoping I'm hoping that some of the old characters do pop up on his show. You know, I want to see if they stay true to how it was before, or if they're gonna like Disney it up. But
I don't think they canceled it because it was bad. I think Disney went in and said, "This is our property." You know, like you gotta give this up. Like, the viewership gotta come to us.
I mean, the only episode of She-Hulk that I liked was the one that had him in it, and at the very end when he left her. First of all, his costume looks weird during the daytime. Like never let him put his costume on, and then it looks weird. Like, imagine Batman just walking around in the daytime. It just looks weird. But when he did the walk of shame from her house, I was just like, I was sitting there, I was like, it was going so good, but y'all couldn't help yourselves. But I thought that was brilliant, because
it was hilarious.
Yeah, because I'm
gonna give that one a pass.
Like I said, Daredevil gets a lot of ass, so it's that could be his comedic side.
Yo, thank you. Like, he's such a thought to watch him walk out of, like, yo, that's not unnormal.
Yeah,
like,
he's broken marriages. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, so to see him walk out. I'm like, yo, bro, what happened? You didn't bring the change of clothes? You just came out with the suit, like, and
no, but
that's.
It's an adjustment though, because again, I'm excited to see him back, but I'm not used to seeing him in a comedic light. So when he was on She-Hulk and he was kicking ass and he was beating up people, I was like, yeah, Daredevil, here's our Daredevil. And then when he did the Walk of Shame, like I chuckled and I'm just like, I'm gonna let this one go.
But that could be a good way to tie him in, because like let his thing be its own entity and dark and evil and how I want it fucking shit up. Sorry.
And then when he's in other
universes, like have his like fun interactions with, say, Peter Parker, his fun interactions with She-Hulk, like that'll work that way.
That works because there's a balance in it. Shows. I mean, your personality is not just one particular set. Like you're not dark like I said, all the damn time.
But like I said, but now it's making me question how they're gonna take his show. Like you said, is it going to be serious and he just does joke stuff when he cameos somewhere else? Or are they going to try to like do 50-50? They're going to try to make him like serious at night and like a goof during, and like you said, like a horror during the day, but like he's serious at night. So
I think he said it best in the show. He was like, there are parts of my life that I don't like to talk about. And I think he established that in the She-Hulk series, that he doesn't want to talk about where his life went. He's just living in that moment there. So I think everybody kind of got it right with, if he's going to be in another show, he'll cameo. Kind of like what they're planning to do with Deadpool. Like we all know Deadpool's not going to be able to curse in the MCU. He's not going to be able to be as violent and wild in the MCU as he would in his own standalone. So they'll probably have him act the way he does in his own movie, but when he interacts with other MCU characters, he'll be toned down. Somebody will actually do what they did to Captain America language, you know what I'm saying? And like he'll relax on that.
No, but it is interesting because how much of the old Netflix stuff are they going to reference? They already brought back Kingpin. Are we going to get what was up? Are we going to get Turk? Are we going to see Madame Gao? Like what about God forbid Carol Page. Like, is she still gonna be there? What about Foggy? So like I said, there's interest there. There's definitely.
I think Born Again is a complete reboot. They're gonna bring back
like
and everybody else. It's not gonna be what the Netflix series was. It's gonna be a reboot of everybody. So
yeah, and Karen was a hooker, so they're not gonna do that.
So we don't run out of time.
Of white privilege.
Yeah, let me just give my quick thought on it.
I was about to say, go ahead, Sean.
No, that's all right. I'm looking forward to most of Phase 5. I think Secret Invasion will be great because from a lot of the stories that I'm watching, they're bringing back. They broke a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Actually, a lot of the characters were on NDAs, and like Quake got pissed off at one of the writers, and that's how they kind of broke that. That she'll be back. They're alluding to it. If they're alluding to it, it's the same thing when they alluded to all the Spider-Men coming back in No Way Home. Like, they're coming. My hope is that they do bring the Super Skrulls out, and it's not just like the regular Skrulls, because you're gonna need to mimic some of the powers. Not everybody, but you're gonna have to mimic some of the powers. Them bringing back a character, I don't think Black Widow will come back. I don't know what the relationship between Scarlett Johansson and Disney is still right now. So she might not come back. It's possible for Tony Stark's.
They did her dirty.
Yeah, so it's possible for a Tony Stark's reunion. But also remember, he really doesn't. I don't think he really wants to come back and do an entire another phase. Ironheart, I mean, there was a deleted scene in Wakanda Forever where Ross, they have her computer. He snuck in to get them a chance to erase Riri's computer so they can get it back. So I think the thing with Riri's computer is going to kick off the armor wars, because the biggest thing with the government is they were never able to duplicate Stark's armor and everything else. Riri did it by herself in a lab. So if she did it, they were looking through her computer so they can reproduce it, which will start off armor wars, which will be a good thing. I mean, I'm hoping that's like after the whole Kang Dynasty thing, the Her series kicks off armor wars and we start getting more Iron Man characters and villains coming out. Quantumania I'm looking forward to, but I think most of what I'm really looking forward to is Daredevil and actually the Thunderbolts, because I'm not happy with the lineup either. I'd rather they would have kept Bullseye alive from the Netflix version because he was supposed to play Hawkeye. I would rather see Wolverine's son Dakin instead of like some of the other characters. But I understand like they don't have those characters available. Yeah, so like they have to put together who they can put together, and I'm interested to see it. The only person I don't think fits in the Thunderbolts is Winter Soldier. He doesn't. Yeah, it's like
are they making them villains or heroes? It's failing very Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I kind of feel like they took every person that was a villain but had a redemption arc in the same movie they were in and just said they're gonna stay as a villain, and I'm not looking forward to all that. So Phase 5, I'm on a wait and see moment to see what's gonna be good. I think Quantumania will probably start it off, knock it out the box. I think you're gonna get it, and the fact that I think Quantumania, because they're doing Kang Dynasty with the Avengers, I don't think at this point in Phase 5 anybody's movie is going to be a happy ending. I don't think it's going to be joyous. I think everybody is going to either fail or die in their movies coming up.
And don't bring them back.
I mean, the whole point of Kang is that we all know, everybody who's read the comic, Kang has killed the Avengers in almost every timeline except for Earth 616. He's murdered them all out. And I think maybe the Ultimate Universe, so if he's killed off multiple Avengers, I don't think any movie in Phase 5 should ever be a happy ending. I think Ant-Man should end on a sad note, because remember, we're talking about basically this man takes over the entire Marvel Universe, which is why we get the Dynasty. So
yeah, and just to go before we go to the next topic, just want to piggyback on what you said, because even in the trailer, he says to Ant-Man's like, "I'm an Avenger." He's like, "Did I kill you before? Are you the one with the hammer?" And it's just like, okay, I want to see scenes of that. I want to see him, like, even if it's just cameos of the other Avengers, I want him to see him in these other universes just killing everybody off.
Kind of like what they did at the end of the Snyder Cut, where they kind of showed Darkseid like murdering half the Justice League, like in quick. I mean, give me that. Yeah, I agree. Give me that. Show him murdering them off, and I'm like, okay.
So does this mean Agatha is the creature commandos of the MCU for us?
Yes.
Oh yes, definitely. There's nobody on this panel that was just like, I can't wait to see Agatha. Like,
so
nobody would you rather watch that one besides the people that love the damn song?
Yeah.
You know what?
Would you rather watch Creature Commandos or Agatha?
I think
I kind of want to see if they both sit in the same realm.
Which would you rather watch though?
She-Hulk was freaking more interesting than Agatha. The
by light years.
Oh my god, me and my friend cosplayed her. Titania's the girl with Titania.
I know you're talking about. Like, the ditzy one.
Yeah. How can I put that with 2 eyes?
Yeah.
She would be more fun to watch than an Agatha show.
Why did they give her a show? That's the only thing I don't understand. But don't get my fan theory about that is she's more than what she says she is. In the entire, she's gonna pop up as a surprise as being somebody more than what she said. Because her whole relationship with Wong is very sus right now.
She's sus.
Yeah, they would be more entertaining than Agatha. I mean, I love Agatha, like the actress, but I'm just saying, like, that's a boring premise to me for a series.
Yeah. What happened to Agatha? Like, didn't she die?
No,
I forgot. I legitimately forgot.
No, she's literally like mind tortured by Wanda. Like she's supposed to be that character her entire life. You know, that nosy neighbor. Wanda make her do that for the rest of her day.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because that was my issue with the show. They tried to paint her to be the villain, but I was like, Wanda is a villain. She was a terrorist. Stop trying to make her a hero. She was a terrorist. She was the villain.
And people came at me when I said Wanda was the villain in WandaVision, and then when we got Doctor Strange, I just sat there like,
I told y'all. Like, she just took over a town. She's a terrorist. She's not a
like how much murder this woman murdered herself.
But to my thing, that's why we say people like read the comic book. Wanda has never been a hero. Like she's always taught. Like if you ever read, her and her brother are fucked up. Like the things they did. Ultimatum should show you exactly how bad the Maximoff siblings can actually be.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see her back on the team. like this is one of those situations.
No redemption.
Yeah, like do not put her back. I don't care if White Vision comes back, Black Vision do not put her ass back on this team.
I will say this before we go into the last topic, which will be the webhead. I would say Marvel does do one thing. I have a problem with the villains is that they, like Nadia said earlier, they do this redemption anti-hero thing a little bit too much, and it's just like you want to feel. No, he's evil. I don't need to relate. I don't need to feel for him or her. Let them be evil. I don't need this. Oh, they changed their ways. No. They just killed tons of people. There's no coming back from that. Like, come on.
Well, no, not to disagree, but Wanda has to be that because let's say they do something like House of M. Wanda has to keep switching between being the hero and then being.
Oh no, not Wanda. I'm talking about some people like Ghosts from Ant-Man.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
And that was one thing I like when they did the Red Hood thing on Titans. Remember in the season finale when Jason said to Dick, he was just like, hey, I'm sorry. I know I killed Titans and I murdered people, but I was messed up in the head. Can I come back? And he looked at him. He was like, you'll never be a Titan again.
Yes.
Like he told him to his face, he was like, nah.
Yeah, like there has to be some ramifications.
Yeah, which is complete bullshit because then they'll have a story arc where he comes back and he either forms his own team and then they all hug it out just like the comic book.
Well, that's Batman shit. Like Batman will use him for like some covert stuff, but I just like the fact that he murdered Titans. Like you can't come back on the team. Like even if you are redeemed, even if you do have forgiveness, you ain't coming back over here. Like there has to be like you have to pay for something. Like there has to be some sort of.
You did a DC episode. This is Marvel. I'm
just saying in general. Like there just needs to be consequences for a lot of these characters.
Since we're getting close to the end, I want to talk really quickly about what Sony is doing with the Spider-Verse. Because I did want to get people's take on this. So we're getting a Madam Web movie, which is filming right now. I think Morbius is getting a sequel for some unknown reason. And they're also doing a Kraven movie. And I think Venom 3 is going to be on its way as well. And then, of course, we still don't know the future of Spidey in the MCU. So what are your thoughts of them really, I guess, expanding the Spideyverse? And do you feel like these characters need their own movie? Like Madam Web, Kraven needs a movie?
You forgot the Childish Gambino movie?
Oh,
and
yes,
then
that one too.
None of these need to happen. I'm like, no, and hell no. So basically the Madam Web movie, absolutely not. I don't know what kind of teeny bopper garbage they're doing with that. The Kraven the Hunter, I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. I am excited for him as Kraven, but I don't like that they're doing this whole thing. He's like, what, an animal lover? He's like a part of PETA or something. Like, no, that makes no sense to Kraven. That's like making like trying to think of an example, like a monster, a vegan. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like you're changing the core of the character. It's dumb. I'm not excited for any of those movies. And Venom's overrated to me. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, it's the fact that for me with Kraven, his entire existence was always for the hunt. It was never about Peter.
The hunter.
Yeah, he was just he always wanted the best challenge, and Spider-Man provided that along with a few other people. And I mean, the thing is, like, one of the darkest things from Todd McFarlane's run with him, which kind of ended Kraven, was Kraven finally got everything he wanted, and then he just said, "You know what? Life doesn't mean anything anymore," and kills himself. And that's it. And then you have Todd McFarlane's Torment with Spider-Man, where they actually a voodoo priestess reanimates Kraven's dead body to kind of torment Spider-Man, and to come out. I don't think we'll ever get something like that, but I think the thought is Sony knows the Disney built up Spider-Man, and now that they have that blueprint, they're trying to like capitalize on it and keep it going to make all the money for themselves. I don't know what his MCU, what he's going to do in the MCU, but I agree. I don't really care that much about
Bad Bunny.
Yeah. I don't care that much about Madam Web because she was just a character in the series. Venom, I'm interested to see. I wasn't too crazy about Maximum Carnage because I think they did Carnage like really dirty. He wasn't that easy of a character to kill off. I see they're going to introduce Toxin and Siren, which is kind of like Toxin is his grandson. So like, what are you really gonna? That doesn't make any sense. So they're already starting off bad. I think the reason why Morbius is getting us too is because of the end credits. The fact that because of Strange's multiverse, it ported over a lot of the villains, and now that's what they're gonna use. I don't know what they're gonna. I don't know why everybody hates the Childish Gambino thing, because he's really supposed to be the introduction into Miles Morales. Now that if you want to, something I want to look forward to is if who can they get to play Miles Morales, and can we get that story going? Because I think,
well, that's what we wanted. We wanted him as Prowler, not as what's the character they're making him again? I completely forgot.
I thought that was the
no. They announced him as this 70s character. It's like a disco.
Oh, I know who you talking about. Why?
Yeah, I completely forgot. But I was like,
why?
I could see that being like a musical, and like, yes, Gambino has a musical aspect. Maybe he'll make a fun soundtrack, but I don't need to see like James Brown skating around in the Marvel universe.
Is he doing Rocket? What's his name? Rocket. I forget. You know what?
I forgot his name. It's part of a band.
Yeah, it's just bad enough where I feel like whenever anybody,
I forgot.
Yeah, whenever anybody but Disney takes these characters, people capitalize on it and just make it trash. Like, you see Fox had to finally give it up, instead of, they were completely tearing up the X-Men universe. They were either hit or miss with the movies. And now I feel like Sony's going to do the same thing. Like, you're going to be hit or miss. Like, sometimes Sony may need to just sit back and just scrap the characters. We want Miles Morales. We want...
It's like we're animated, yeah.
Yeah, we want...
Hypno Hustler.
Yeah,
yes, that's what it was. Hypno Hustler. I was like, no, it's Hypno something. I was trying to remember.
And it seems like the only thing Sony is getting right is Into the Spider-Verse. Like, that's the only one they're getting right. I mean, you have No Way Home, and that was like a phenomenal movie. And then you're gonna cap that off with, let me get Morbius, which was everybody shitted on that movie. Everybody looked at it like, what were we watching? And then you gave us a great end credit scene. But then you're gonna take Venom, gave us a subpar Carnage movie, and then now you're gonna cap it off by just like giving us one bad movie after the next. You're gonna kill the franchise. Like, it's gonna end up back in Disney's hands after that.
But that goes to what I was saying before. It doesn't matter how bad the villains are, or how bad the movie is, because they're going to bring back Toby, and and everybody's going to forgive it.
But now we're talking about two different franchises. We're not talking about Marvel, where it's the MCU. We're talking about Sony, just like Fox. They're taking...
Don't the same pages flip in the beginning of every film?
No. Nope. Actually, not even in the Sony thing.
Association.
Yeah, that's it. It says association on it. Like, they're two different entities. And to be honest with you, the fans have not sat down and said, oh, we're going to let that slide with Sony or Fox. Like, they destroy every movie they crap on in that movie. Like, that's...
Here's my question. Are these Spider-Man movies with these villains, with these people being the villains, or are they doing movies about these people?
No, like, Spider-Man is not in any of these movies. Like, Venom, it's kind of like another anti-hero again.
So what's the point of having a Madam Web movie?
That's what we're saying.
That's what we're all saying. Like,
I thought y'all were talking about these were going to be
villains. And they're making
villains.
Madam Web like a 30-year-old. I don't know what they're doing.
I thought these were going to be villains in up-and-coming Spider-Man.
No, they're all solo projects.
They're making villain standalone movies instead of focusing on Gwen Stacy's Spider-Man
That's not good.
or Miles Morales, and actually just building up. Like, you could do, before we go, you could do all the Spider-Mans and give them their own movie. You can do Spider-Man De Noir. You can do Spider-Man 2099, which will be freaking fantastic. The way technology is. Like, but you're focusing on villains. It's weird to me that
it's like they're purposely sabotaging it.
Yeah, when the hell are we gonna get to finish the 6? Like, we've all been waiting for. Like,
yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get some kind of hint of the Sinister Six with the end of No Way Home.
No, even at the end of Morbius, I thought we were getting the hint that the Sinister Six was coming.
No,
actually,
still to this day,
I like the anime when they had White Tiger as like Kraven's adversary, because he killed her father, and that's why she was coming for it. So there's gonna be no heroes. There's gonna be no heroes whatsoever.
No, it's just villains doing.
That's what I'm saying. Like doing what? Like,
we don't know.
Well, see, Craven's becoming a vegan, so.
Oh gosh. In the end, he's like, I don't kill animals.
Like none of us, like there's a point where I'm sitting down, like before anybody gets on Disney for what they're doing, somebody need to go check Sony. Sit down and have a long talk with Sony about like their nonsense. Like, yo, bro, like don't take the popularity and go sit with the board members and go, guess what? Like snort a line of cocaine and go, okay, here's my idea. Right?
What can we destroy next?
Exactly. Like here's my idea. Craven, vegan, lover. Everything. It works. Like,
they're just like, so all he craves is the hunt. He doesn't actually kill.
Yo, Jerrell, don't get him no ideas, man. Shut the hell up. Don't give him no ideas.
No. So when they showed a drop of venom at the end of the Multiverse of Madness, wasn't that supposed to hint at a because I never watched any of the Venom movies because I didn't see the point of having a Venom movie with no Spider-Man. I thought that whole post-credit scene was supposed to introduce Venom versus Spider-Man.
MCU?
Yeah, we all thought the same thing, but the problem is
a multiverse. He could be in the Andrew Garfield verse, which would make more sense.
Yeah,
but they left the piece of Venom in the MCU verse. Like,
we all.
Why are we not doing anything with that?
We all
because Sony is stupid.
Like, why are we not following up on that?
They're making wrestler movies.
Oh God.
They're making shopping movies.
Like this is like literally. Oh, that's the timer. But this is literally the bottom of the barrel, folks. But before we go, just any 1 minute. If anyone has any final words before we head out.
Regarding the topic or in general?
No, just
that was the bell.
Yeah. Okay. So my only thing is like, there's so much to watch out there. I just want to drop a few things. Like if anybody gets a chance, Showtime has to stand out. You really need to check that out. That is a deep documentary on what happened in the past and what's going on now with, standing at the flag, athletes getting blackballed. Excellent docu-series. Anybody else, if you're into anime, and I really can't wait for this, is Go-Go Loser Ranger, which is supposed to be a anime series about the Power Rangers being kind of like the boys, the putties and everything else, that they did try to invade. The Power Rangers stopped them, but now they're using them for merchandising. So they're making them reenact villainy stuff all the time. And one putty finally has enough and he's going to challenge them. And I mean, the concept, it's already been a manga and the anime looks great. And I like the little switch on the Power Rangers. They're evil. The putties are like misunderstood. They're little slaves being kicked around. And anybody not watching The Last of Us, you need to ask yourself why.
All right.
If you're not watching,
because I was too busy watching Against the Ropes.
You shouldn't have.
There's nothing else to watch.
Yeah, you shouldn't have told on yourself, bro. If you're not watching The Last of Us,
get out, Jerrell.
yeah, for real. Right?
We're not doing that anymore.
Yes, we are. Get out.
No,
literally log off. You're done.
Against the Ropes is so bad but so entertaining at the same time, and it's mostly because it's like they're talking in Spanish with like English dub over, and it's just like it's hilarious. It's really hilarious. And the funny part is Rey Mysterio. He's in the TV series, and someone dubbed his voice, and I'm like, he actually speaks English.
Okay, now I have to watch it. All right, you sold me. I had to see that clip. Nadya, you have any last words before we out of here?
Check out my Last of Us recaps. Gonna be posting more stuff also on all the DC like Gunverse, my casting ideas, and my Legion of Superheroes review is up with Big Ol' Belt, and that movie is not worth it. So
do that in there quick.
The Flash comes back February 8th, right?
Yeah.
So we will be reviewing the Flash to give him his flowers as he ends his 9th and final season.
All right.
Grant Gustin finally got the yellow boots, y'all.
All right. Johnny, anything you want to plug or
I think plug enough at the end.
All right. So as always, we are wrapping this up. This has been another episode of The Hour. We're going to hit the intro, and don't forget UWL every Saturday, 7 p.m. Later days. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
Thank you for joining us for Otakus Geeks The Hour. Support the podcast by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. For more on Justin, you can check out imaginativevisions.com. For more on Nadya, you can check out gothamgeekgirl.com. For more on Sean, check out his podcast, It's Chronicles, on Anchor FM. For more on Jerrell, check out his YouTube channel, Red Eyes Entertainment. Later days.